Okay, today we'll look at the differences between the United States and Europe in terms of working hours and time off. As you've seen from the figures, there's substantial difference. Europeans, on average, work less than we do in the United States. They have a shorter work week and better, longer vacations. And this does not seem to be changing in the near future. I'm going to suggest two reasons for this and then we will open it up for discussion. First, I'd like to point out that it hasn't actually always been like this. In fact, it's fairly recent trend. It was American companies that introduced the 2 week vacation first and the 40-hour work week. In fact, also in the 1930s, they introduced a 40-hour week at Henry Ford Motor Plants, and that was before most European countries. A lot of Europeans didn't all get all started out fact until the 1960s or even 70s. So it's only been in the last 30 or 40 years. In fact, that you see Europeans with passing us in terms of leisure time. So what happened to cause this? Well, there are two factors that I'd like to talk about and do with European attitudes. And the other one is to do with American workplace. Oh, when I say American here, I mean the United States. I'm not talking about Canada here. Anyway, first, the Europeans have legislation. They introduced law around leisure time. For example, in the 1990s, the French government reduced the work week to 35 hours. The European Union actually requires now 4 weeks paid leave every year for all employees. Many countries have more than that. Workers have bargained for 5 weeks in countries like Germany and Italy, and that time is very important for European workers. If you ever go to Europe in August, you notice immediately almost everything is shut down and everyone's on vacation. Now, if you look at the countries that have not had legislation, these are precisely the places where people tend to work long hours. Britain is an example. They work long hours there than in the rest of Europe, but then they still work less, much less than Americans do. They expect their 4 week vacation in the summer, and if you look that way, people will get very upset. Compare that to the United States. Well, it's up to the employer to provide or not provide that vacation time. So, why some employers do indeed provide excellent benefits of all kinds, including vacation time for their employees, the majority stick to the standard 2 weeks. And something like 22 or half million private sector employees don't get any paid vacation at all. Now let's turn to the other factor in order this, and that's American workplace. The situation here is that there's less job security and workplaces are more competitive. So companies can demand more. It's not unusual to see for companies to demand more than 50-hour weeks from top people, and workers are afraid of losing their jobs. So they want the boss to see them working hard. So in some cases, even though they are getting vacation time, they are not taking it. There's too much pressure, and that's happening at all income levels. American workers tend to have more job security. So I've described the main reasons for differences between Europe and the United States in terms of working hours and leisure time, but really what it really comes down to it, I think, the Europeans have made a choice. Both Europe and the United States have become more prosperous, but the Europeans have chosen to take their prosperity in time, whereas Americans seem to just want to work harder and harder.